So we are flying through these multi-views, and people are doing pretty well. The next one we're going to do, and I've done it twice in class today, is multi-view number 4. This actually prepares you to, or it actually incorporates what we call a center line. And if I can go fast enough in this, I'll just try to do the entire thing in one shot. If not, I'll go and add a little center line portion. So maybe I'll do this in 3 pieces. So the biggest thing, I think I will end up being 2 or 3 pieces, but this thing to me looks like a magnet. And there's a hole in it. The circle is a hole. There's a notch missing out of it. And if I were to go ahead and draw, like for instance, from right here to right over here, there's a definite length that we can figure out. But rather than figuring out that length, I would just prefer to go to the center of this hole. And I want you guys to think about this like if I draw a line from the center of that hole up that way, I can count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So let's call that 6 inches, okay? And the reason that that's important is if you think about if you've ever drilled a hole in a board to build something, to build a skateboard ramp or a piece of furniture or some kind of home improvement, or if you've hung a mirror, when you drill a hole, you never work to the edge of a circle. You don't use the edge of a drill bit to line anything up. You use the center of a drill bit, right? X marks the spot. So when we deal with curves, I'm going to ignore everything on the left side of this and use straight lines to come up with curves, okay? So I'm going to start by doing this. And if I look at this most simplistically, this object is 6 high. And from the center of the circle, it is 6 over. So what I'm going to do is just draw a line that is 6 over, 6 high, and then 6 over again. I think I'm going to run out of space over here, so I'm just going to slide this to the right slightly. All right. And I'm going to draw one other line, but I'm going to do this on my construction layer. And the reason is this is not actually, there's no vertical line that we can see anywhere over here by this circle. So this is not part of the drawing. It's a cheater line. It's a construction line. It's there to help, okay? If I look over here to the right, and this notch in our magnet is, it goes up 2, and then it goes in 3, and then it goes up 2, and it comes back 3, and it goes up 2. So I'm just going to use this information of in 3 and then up 2 to use the offset tool. Okay, so I'll go offset, and I'm going to type in 3 for a distance. I'm going to come over that way, and then I'm going to repeat offset and go down 2 and up 2. And now there's just a little trimming we got to do. So I can go back up here and trim. That piece is gone. That's gone. That's gone. And that's gone. So this, you can see, is really starting to look like the end of the magnet. Okay. So the reason this is here is so it gives me a midpoint for this X marks the spot, center of the circle kind of deal. You do need to make sure, shift and right click and go to your object snap settings. You want to make sure you have a couple of things ticked or checked. You do want to make sure that you have center checked, otherwise you can't do this. And you want to make sure you have quadrant checked, otherwise you can't do this. Midpoint should also be checked. So take a glance at this. You should have endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection, and then perpendicular on the right column. Okay. So you need midpoint, you need quadrant, you need center for this one. So we have a curve going on over here, right? And this curve is something kind of like this, all right? And this is, I'll get some people who will just do exactly what I just did. But if we, if we were to draw an arc, we need 3 points, really. We need to know the length of the arc, and then we need to know the radius of the arc. Well, if I come back to this, I can see that I have a circle. That one's easy to figure out with a diameter of 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I go from the center of this circle, I can keep going out to the end of the object, 1, 2, 3, which means that this becomes half of a circle. Okay, so I'm just going to use a circle 2 times, and I'm going to enter the radius of each circle. Okay, I'm going to go from the center. I look and I say, okay, this one, the center circle goes over 1, 2, and this arc goes over 1, 2, 3. All right. So when I enter a circle, it always asks me for a base point. Okay. So the first thing I'll do is come up and pick my base point. That's why this yellow line is here. I needed a base point and it needs to be in the middle of the object. When you look at your command window, if you haven't drawn a ton of circles, and a lot of our drawings haven't required specific size circles or arcs, it says specify the radius. Okay. Well, if I typed in 4, I'm like, okay, I remember that was a diameter of 4. What happened? It made it too big. Why did it make it too big? The reason it's too big is because it's asking for first the center point, but then it says radius. So AutoCAD understands any circle or arc in radii, not in diameter. If I wanted to enter it in diameter, I would have to click diameter or type in space. So I could click, and if I think in terms of diameters, I type in 4, and that gives me my inner circle. All right. Or simply enough, just remember that the radius on that, because we counted from the center mark to the outside of the circle, was 2. Same exact thing. And then again, we're going to repeat the circle. We're going to go from the center point, and I've got an option here. I know that the radius is 3, so I could just type in 3, or I can just drag and click right here. Either one is fine. Okay, but you did it right if this forms a tangent. If this line comes in, you got to go back to geometry a little bit, but if this line comes in to this curve perfectly, you have done it right. This is no longer a part of the drawing, and then we're going to go ahead and trim, and I don't need that, and I don't need that. Sometimes when you get those intersections, you want to remember this trick: Z space for zoom, and then W. You might want to draw a little box around here. Make sure there's no portion of that circle you just trimmed that's stuck in that line. Okay. So we're good now. I'm going to go to the front, and then I'm going to go to the top. Okay. So the front would be like I'm looking at this magnet from over here. Okay. Like I'm looking at it this way. So in this case, I am going to show you guys what I call the method of projection. And don't let it freak you out. It's not that hard. This is for, if I want to make sure, a lot of people are getting stuff and they're drawing like their next object over here, and then they're drawing their next object like over here. Bad idea. The reason is if you keep everything in alignment, and what we've been doing to date is I've said, okay, go up and grab a construction line and stick this over here and draw a little cheater. And then you would start doing this object by going to draw a line that's up 6, right? And we know that it's over 3, and then we know it's down 6, and then we know it's over 3. So right now I've done 4 commands, and then 5 once I erase this. And then I got to go back and do more thinking again, right? And remember, we're going to have a hidden line in this. We know the circle goes through, but we know if we stand here at this side, we can't see the circle. So rather than fooling around with all kinds of numbers, let me do something where I can just enter a number once. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm drawing a big vertical line. Why is it much bigger than that? I'll show you, because this way I don't have to think about things. So I know that this object is, how wide is it? It's 1, 2, 3. So this is the only dimension I'm going to have to enter now. Offset 3. Okay. Boom. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a construction line. And you said, well, you didn't have to use any construction lines. I'm just going to draw this way out into outer space. Okay. So this then is going to become the bottom of the front of the object. Well, watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this, copy it, and this is where I have to go and say what happens, what occurs as I go from the bottom of this object to the top of this object. Does anything occur? Well, yes, this occurs, right? There's an edge right there. Anything else? Yeah, there's a hole embedded in here. So I can grab that at that quadrant. I can grab that edge. I can grab this edge. I can grab that hole. And I can grab the top of that. And now for a little color coding. What about all this? This is just horrible tic-tac-toe board. Well, let's neaten it up a little bit. So I'm going to trim. I know that nothing sticks in here. I know that nothing sticks out here. I know that nothing sticks out here. These might be handy for you to keep for a minute, but you don't need to. So I can tell you that this line is part of the object. This line is part of the object. This line and this line are all part of the object. So I'm going to go and put that on object lines. And I'm going to trim what didn't need to be there, right? Those were just connectors. And this line correspond to that circle that I cannot see, but I want to know it's there. So I come up and I place these on my hidden layer. Now I trim, get rid of them, and get rid of them. So that was the method of projection, which I like better because I only, in this case, had to draw a line, let's see, 1 time 2. I only had to really do one number I only put in, which was the offset from here to here, okay? So I'm going to do the same exact thing up here, and I'm going to draw just a nice big horizontal line. And this is the point where I have to go back and find out how long the object was overall. Remember, I had no idea how long it was overall at first, but watch what I can do here. I can just go ahead and draw a construction line, and then I can draw an object from here, or a line from there to there, right? And why did I do that? Because this is the entire length of the object. The tool called list, if you type in LI and then spacebar, this is how AutoCAD used to look when I was learning it eons ago, 20 some years ago. There's all this information, and they still have this. I use this quite a bit, but one of the most significant things here is it tells me that that is 9, and it also should tell me that that's at a 0-degree angle. So if you ever have a doubt as to if you're drawing straight up and down, that can help you as well, okay? So in this case, I'm going to go offset 9, and that goes up there, okay? And these are both parts of the object. Okay, and now I'm going to use the extend tool. So this is a goner, don't need that. Extend is right here. I keep saying this one, and this is something you should learn. It's very handy, but it's right here under trim, and it allows you to take an existing line and shoot it to a specific destination, okay? So extend, if I click this line right here, that's the destination. So you click the destination first, then you right click, and then you click what you want to go to that destination, which are that and that, okay? And again, I'll do some neatening up. Boom, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. And now this shows me the object as I would see it from the top, with the exception of the fact that there's a couple of hidden lines there, right? So we knew that this was from this edge to the center of this circle. We knew that that was 6. So I'm just going to use that offset 6. And then we know from 6, which is right here, we have a 4-inch circle, which means it's 2 in either direction. So I'm going to go offset 2 this way, 2 this way. This is not part of the object. And again, we can't see the circle, but we know it's there. So what are those lines doing? They're hiding. So we call those hidden lines. And the last thing we have to do is go ahead and account for this, which we can't see looking down from the top, but we know the distance from there to there is 3. So I go offset 3, click here, click there, and match properties. Click this, and that is a hidden line, okay? Now, what's interesting is you can, again, check yourself. So I copied this, and I'm going to rotate this on its side. I'm just going to click here and rotate it 90 degrees. And if I were to draw like a little stick right here, this is another way I could check my work, okay? The method of projection should have made it so that if I'm just going to use this vertical line. This doesn't need to be here. This vertical line is, if I go ahead and copy it, hold it up for alignment. That is in perfect alignment. That is in perfect alignment from the hidden line to the circle. from the hidden line to the circle, from the hidden line to that notch, from the hidden line to here, okay? So I've ensured alignment by just not measuring and just shooting lines over. So I hope that method makes sense. I think it takes people getting used to, and I think the reason it takes getting used to is because you're like, what are these lines doing? Why are they going this way? Why are you drawing a line bigger? Why did you draw the line this big? Because I didn't want to have to try to get there and sit there and be careful and saying, okay, it's about this much and whatever. And then the lines miss or they don't intersect. Just make it bigger. You got trim. Okay. So that's it. And I will come back and deal with so the hidden lines are in. And then I'll come back and I'm going to do the second part, which is center lines and dimensioning on this. All right.